you brought up a good word, and genuine, and even Gus, when you played for Gus here, people wouldn't throw that word around Gus, and I know it didn't work out for Gus, and the record wasn't good, but there's an appreciation for genuine people, I think, in any walk of life, and I think that it seems that's what you're getting here in Doug Pederson. The difference is he comes with a Lombardi trophy, which also in your world seems like the respect for that is like off the charts.
Oh, man, it's what everybody is trying to get to. It's the peak. And knowing that a guy's coached that head coach that won the Lombardi trophy. And guess who he won it against? Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It doesn't get any better than that. You got Rob Gronkowski, you got all these guys. And he went in there with a backup quarterback and won the trophy. And when you know a guy can do that and lead a team there, I mean, it's from there, it's just, it's all she wrote. You're going to go with him, wherever he leads you. And that's why I'm so excited about this with Doug, not just the fact that he's that kind of a leader. He knows how to lead quarterbacks. The guy played quarterback. He was a quarterback coach. He's brought in guys that know how to teach the quarterback. So I think, Trevor Lawrence is obviously a big part of this team this year and bringing him along, and I think he's going to have a big year this year.
That makes sense to me. The whole quarterback thing, again, Marino, Favre, Pederson was in the league forever. What he did with Wentz and Foles, you can argue he got the best football out of those two
both
quarterbacks,
of those
right?
guys, yeah.
Alex Smith,
earned them both a lot of money.
Before he left, as he was going out the door, and Alex Smith, he got the best football out of him.
MVP candidate,
you know? So I see that. What I don't understand is why has he become so tight end friendly? Like, I said this to Evan Engram, and his eyes lit up. It's like, this makes so much sense. You're in a contract year, and Doug Pederson's your coach. And we talked about this last couple of days. I mean, he's got to be a top 3 coach in the NFL if you're a tight end. And he might be number 1. I mean, Harbaugh comes to mind in Baltimore. Mark Andrews catching it like 107 times,
Yeah.
But, I mean, why? What do you know anything about the origin of why he loves the tight end so much?
I don't know where that comes from, but if you think back to the teams that Doug was on, even going back to the Mike Holmgren era, I'm going back to his time in Green Bay, where he spent so much time in Green Bay. A guy like Mark Chmura,
true,
old school great tight end guy, was just dependable. You could get the ball to, and then obviously in Philadelphia, you got a guy like Zach Ertz, Brent Selleck, showing that you can catch the ball there. In Kansas City, I'm pretty sure he worked with Travis Kelce.
He probably early on,
Early
going
Travis
back to 13,
Kelce.
14, 15, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's where it comes from. And then talking today, I talked to Press Taylor. I knew Press Taylor when he was in Philly. He was low on the ladder there.
I was going to say he must have been like 23.
He was young guy because he's young now.
Equipment manager or
Literally,
something.
he was one of the scouts. But talking to Press, the first thing I'm talking to him, trying to get some inside info, and one of the first things he said to me was, "I really love our tight end unit." And he said, there's 4. He named 4 guys. So I think they're going to keep all 4 of these guys. Manhertz. He loves Manhertz because he can block and he can catch. Manhertz knows. I talked to Manhertz after practice. He knows his role. He goes, hey, I'm going to do whatever they ask me to. I'm going to block. I can catch the ball, but I know what I'm here to do. And he knows he's in here to be an inline guy. Then he mentioned Evan Engram. He goes, Evan can play. The guy's fast. He can run routes. He can catch. And he goes, the thing about Evan is he's a willing blocker. And I go, I love that because I don't like the guys that are pretty. They like to catch balls. They don't like to get dirty. To me, you have to be able to block if you're a tight end. Don't call yourself a tight end.
Even the modern tight end, even these guys who are basically wide receivers playing tight end?
I think Travis Kelce's the best receiving tight end of all time, and he's found a way to make it work. But, it's hard because if you don't want to give away tendencies, you got a guy like Evan Engram. You're not going to put Evan Engram on the ball to the right and run the ball to the right. You will not do. He will not get the ball ran to him, because he can't block the point of attack. And here's what's going to happen. You start doing tendencies, so now Ingram's going to have to be off the ball. He's going to have to come back across the line of scrimmage and sift out to the backside end. When Evan Ingram's in there, a tendency of what plays. You're pigeonholed into a number of plays. That's the same thing that happened when I played here in Jacksonville. You had me, you had Mercedes Lewis, you had Julius Thomas. We all had different roles on the team. But the thing is, once we're in the game, the teams that we're playing against have seen every snap that we do. They know the tendencies that we're going to do. So I love that there's so many good tight ends. What I don't love is that it creates tendencies. And when you start getting into these big games and these guys really come down and they really scout you, they start to see these tendencies. They'll give the tendencies of the linebackers or the safeties, and they know what you do. I remember talking to guys after the game, Houston Texans, a team we play twice a year. You go, hey, we know what you guys are doing. When Julius Thomas is in the game, you're throwing the ball. He's not going to pass block. He's not going to run block.
He's not a willing blocker.
When you're in the game, you're going to do some kind of movement, maybe a play action pass slide route, or you're going to lead up on a linebacker or do the F stuff. When Mercedes in the game, they're going to run the ball to him, or he's going to pass pro. It's tendencies. In the NFL, you can't have tendencies. So I love that they got so many good tight ends, tight end by, committee, which is okay. I like that they got so many talented players, but I don't like that it's going to create tendencies that teams will be able to exploit.
Well, let me go deeper on this and heavy in the X's and O's, because I'm following what you're saying. I like it, and it brings me back to a point. Remember Casey, Dan Arnold said in like an interview a couple weeks ago, and I was like, Dad, don't worry about that. Like he said, I want to be an all-around tight end. I don't want to be just known as a pass catcher. I said, hey, around here we'll take a pass catcher. It's okay, Dan, it's okay. But now hearing you say that jogs my memory of like, that's why he doesn't want to be known as just that. He wants to be able to do multiple things. But does it trump what you're saying if you have a guy like Engram, who's really not a tight end? I mean, he's got a wide receiver body, man. I mean, he's a matchup problem. So if you have that big of a matchup problem, can you get away with a tendency?
Yeah, he's going to create mismatches. So it's going to be interesting to see how defensive play him. I think defenses are going to treat him like a nickel. So when you bring a tight end in the game, you want them to match you and bring a linebacker in the game if it's 12 personnel, right? If that's the case, you're going to throw the ball because you're probably going to end up with a linebacker on Evan Engram. So now they're going to treat Evan Engram like a nickel. So they're going to have a safety in the game. So now Evan Ingram's going to have to be able to block that safety, and they're going to have to win that matchup because Evan Ingram's there's another safety on the field, and you got two tight ends. Evan Engram should be able to block that safety. So now you should have some extra running room because you got a safety on a tight end in the running game. That's why they call it this big mismatch problem. But now if you bring in 13 personnel, the defense is going to think that you're running the ball. And this is what Press told me. He goes, now we're doing a lot of 13 personnel because you can split out Arnold. You can split out Engram. And then you got Manhertz that he can even do some of that. But you put Manhertz in line, and now you got all these mismatch problems. And then who's going to get matched up on the linebacker? Is it going to be Engram or is it going to be Travis Etienne in the backfield?
Exactly.
Somebody's got to get matched up on the linebacker.
And it's all over if Etienne's on a linebacker.
Man.
Etienne or Engram. Both these guys can beat linebackers. So, you have to be able to use motion. You have to be able to use shifts because that tells you exactly what the defense is doing. Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, old New England Patriots with Tom Brady. There will not be one play. There won't be one play, I promise you, where there is not a motion or shift. Because guess what Tom Brady's figuring out? He's okay, that's man-to-man, that zone. He knows before every snap if it's man-to-man or zone. The rest he's got to figure out what kind of zone is it. What kind of man is it, who they doubling. But he will know before every play because of his shifts or his motions, they got to follow. If it's a man-to-man, you got to follow your guy around. If a running back goes outside and a linebacker follows him, it's man-to-man. If a tight end goes outside and a linebacker follows him, it's man-to-man. If a tight end goes outside and a cornerback's out there, guess what? It's zone. If they try to hide it, you shift the tight end out, then you shift them back. They're going to have to unfold. They're going to have to show if it's man or zone. So these things are the things that the young quarterbacks don't have that the old quarterbacks do. All the shifts, the motions that will diagnose, okay, is this man or is this zone? And this is something they're going to have to do, and why people love using these tight ends, because all the shifts, and you'll be able to pick up the matchups better, the man and zone better. Then you can get yourself in the right play to get some yards and to score touchdowns.